What's good, everybody? It's the motherfucking Victory and Vices podcast. The boys are back. Momo challenge. We left that behind last week.
Yeah,
we don't want any trouble.
The new things down.
Yeah, kids, put the knives down again. Yeah, just so we can reaffirm we're not taking part in that. That was a joke for anybody who was watching. We got a lot to we have a lot to talk about. Even though it was a reduced fixture list. I did get it right this week as well. It is FA Cup, or it was FA Cup week. So yeah, get yourselves comfortable. We got a lot to discuss. All right, we will kick off with no football pun intended, by the way. Swansea, like Man City. Yeah. Being that we are in Swansea right now.
Yep.
You live just outside of Swansea. I live in Swansea. It was a bit of a signal, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a signal. Yeah. I'm not a proper Swans fan, as you know. We United fans, but we have a certain sort of love for the Swans as well.
Yeah, of course.
That's
a fair shout.
Yeah, want them to do very well, and sort of at the end of the game, I was like really, really disappointed because I'm sure we'll discuss it more in a moment, but there was a good element of controversy involved, and it would have been really uplifting for the Swans as well to really get past that.
Bro, where do I start? Do you want to start with VAR?
Yeah, I know.
Or the lack of VAR.
Yeah, I think we should end with a bit of praise for Swansea after that as well.
We will give them praise because one of the goals they scored was ridiculous. Like, it was absolutely insane. But yeah, going back to the whole VAR thing, we've discussed VAR multiple times on this podcast and how it is essential. If you look at the other FA Cup game, which we were watching earlier, just going over the highlights again, which was United and Wolves, Victor Lindelof gets sent off, but the red card gets rescinded because they look at it and they go, okay, referee was incorrect. Sterling went down. I think it was Carter Vickers.
It was Carter Vickers, yeah.
And that was never a penalty. And it was never, ever, ever, ever a goal by Aguero because it was offside.
Clearly offside, yeah.
The actual definition from the FA, what I've got here, I've got it wrote down actually, if you bear with. So I got no VAR. Okay, right. So FA rules state that VAR must be used in the FA Cup, but only at games being held at Premier League stadiums. What?
And am I right in saying that the technology... Was it there at the stadium, or is it just not there at all?
Well, fuck! All they had to do was look up at the TV. All they had to do was ask BBC Sport. By the way, was that a penalty or not? No. Or was that offside? Yeah.
It's such a sucker punch for the Swans because it's like, if that was at the Etihad, then VAR would be there.
Well, quick FYI as well, there was a Premier League stadium until last season, so it's not like it doesn't have the facility.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a bit of a strange one. VAR is essential. I don't know how they would work it in a sense that if you have two, let's say you have two League One teams fighting it out in the quarterfinals. I don't know how they would work it in a sense that it should be there. I mean, can you not have it just for one day, or does it have to be a all season thing?
I don't know. I really don't know. It seems to
Is it not a case of just wheeling a machine in? Or am I just thinking of
in my head, I'm like, but surely it's very straightforward to just apply it to a different ground, especially in a game of that size. You don't want the result to be decided by such shitty decisions and poor refereeing decisions. And then the whole point of VAR is that it's there, to iron out these shit decisions. But it's a tough pill to swallow for Swansea and Swans fans.
I remember in school, right? School, for me, it was a long time ago. For you, it was only last month.
It was the 90s.
Yeah. But so back in the 70s when I was in school, right? So they used to wheel a projector in.
They did, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you'd sing like fucking, I don't know what we used to sing, to be honest with you, fucking By the Rivers of Babylon or something like that. Way back in the day, before school became very sort of PC. But back in the day, they just wheel a projector in and you get on with it. How do you not do that with VAR? Bro, it's literally just wheel the TV to the side of the pitch and go, by the way, it's not a goal. How fucking difficult is that?
Yeah.
Every single person in the ground knew it wasn't a goal. Yeah. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And that won't go away quickly for Swans fans. They'll remember that for a long time now because that would have put them into the semi-final of the cup.
Semi-finals for our American audience.
And obviously they've won the League Cup. I think it was 2012 or 2013 or something around there. They won it, which is
there's some nice Wembley memories.
Which is great for them. And then had they got to the semis or the final of the FA Cup, which was plausible because they could have ended up drawing like Brighton or something like that.
Well, they would have drawn Brighton.
Yeah, it looks like they would have drawn Brighton. And you would have put like a decent bet on them to potentially make the final, which would have potentially trumped their League Cup success.
Yeah, well, look, stranger things have happened.
A cup competition.
Wigan won it a while back, didn't they?
Yeah, 100%, and it happens. So it is really disappointing for them. And if it was United that happened to against Wolves, obviously we'll come to that, then I would be fuming. So I have to put myself in the shoes of Swans fans rather than just be like, it was really unlucky. They knew before the game that VAR wasn't in play. So, but when I put myself in the shoes of a Swans fan, I would be fucking fuming.
Yeah, City. Luck seems to be with them right now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you're going for 4 trophies, you need a bit of luck. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a treble or quadruple without having a huge slice of luck. And right now it is going their way. It's tight though, bro. I mean, the Premier League season, that's going to go down to the wire. Both Liverpool and City will go over the Champions League draw later. They look like they could potentially go really deep into the Champions League, so that's going to impact on their Premier League season. It's incredible. Like, this is a brilliant season so far. Oh yeah, and like you say, you need a huge element of luck sometimes, and luck can come in many ways. Like, I'm sure we wouldn't be arguing as much if there'd been sort of a lucky ricochet or a deflection and the balls come into Aguero's path or Sterling's path and they've scored a goal. You sort of just hold your hands up and say, these things fucking happen. Like, but the way in which they had their luck, which you had the incident on Sterling, I think the ball was definitely taken. Yeah, it was.
It's a clear offside. So you do need that luck, but there's luck and there's that type of luck, So, but City move on. There's nothing we can do about it. They got the W.
Yeah, they did.
And they're still in. Was it all competitions? Well, they won one, obviously, the League Cup.
They've won the League Cup, semi-finals of the FA Cup, quarterfinals of the Champions League, and like you said, won the League Cup and Premier League, obviously, second now. So
whether you like it or not, they move on. The Premier League is going to go right down to the wire, as you say. But do you think City could win all 4 trophies?
I think they'll get 3.
Do you think?
I think so, yeah. I think
they'll
get 3. Fucking, you put me on the spot now. I fucking knew you would do this. I've already said I think Liverpool are going to win the league. I think Liverpool will win it.
That means that they get the FA Cup then, City, and the Champions League. You're saying?
I think City could win the Champions League. I mean, realistically, right? And I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be a bold statement. I don't rate that Juventus side.
No, but you rate Ronaldo though.
I rate Ronaldo, but that Juventus side, if there's a way of nullifying Ronaldo, which Guardiola has potentially, I think he's done it in the past a few times, with it, albeit a Barcelona side that was incredible.
In parts, yes.
In parts, yeah. They're not that good a side, that Juventus side. If you look at the quality throughout, I mean,
it's bizarre.
It doesn't stand out. I mean, man for man, City are a better side.
Yeah,
they are.
Because on paper, when they signed Ronaldo, I thought this is it now because they've come so close. Ronaldo, I think it was last season, scored a late penalty to knock them out. And he's done wonders against them in the past. And when they signed him, I was kind of like, this is it. They could really go on to win it, and they could still yet win it. But it almost seems like you look at their team on paper and you think, what a side that is. But like they lost again. It was last night on the weekend.
Without Ronaldo against Genoa, they lost. Yeah. And I mean, other than the 2 centre halves, right? And I'm of the opinion now, as you were previously, Laporte is one of the best centre halves in the league, and he could get in that Juventus side. So it's Chiellini and Bonucci, I believe. Other than them and Ronaldo, no one else is getting in that Man City side.
Dybala
can't even get in the Juventus side.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, Dybala Ramsey. Ramsey. Come to Aaron Ramsey in a minute, actually, because he was... I'm going to have to say about Aaron Ramsey. But basically, that Juventus team, like, other than the 2 centre-halves and Ronaldo, obviously you've got Aguero who would compete with him, and they'll be very close, actually. They're not that great. I mean, City could realistically beat them, and then City will probably face Barcelona final. Or Liverpool.
It's because of Cristiano. That's the reason why they have a chance, I think, is because of Ronaldo. Because in the big games in the Champions League...
That's why he was bought, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen the stats. He's got the most of everything. Anything that's good in the Champions League in terms of stats for a forward player, he owns. And just with him in the side, and especially if they were to come up against City, I'm not actually sure if... what is it? It's Liverpool and Porto play with United, Barcelona... and then Spurs, Man City play Juventus, Ajax.
Sorry, yes, I beg your pardon. Yeah.
And I think if Juve beat Ajax, which I think they will, and I think City will pump Spurs as well, there's extra motivation for Ronaldo against City, and I just think he could cause them problems. So
he will cause them problems, but
to bring that back round, I don't think the Champions League is City's this year.
I think it is.
I think that Liverpool have a better chance. I think it could reverse. I honestly believe that City are going to win the Premier League and Liverpool will go closer in the CL.
Really? That's interesting. I think City's... You've got to understand as well, De Bruyne, right, will be back, and De Bruyne has not played much this season.
No, and they haven't needed him, though.
And they haven't needed, but you're going to have a fresh De Bruyne, as long as he stays fit between you, so now and then. He's going to come in and add new impetus. You're going to have all these other players that have sort of been injured coming back, and they haven't played that many games, a lot of these players, so it'll be interesting, but I could see City winning it. I really could. The only ones that'll stop them are Barca. That's what I.
But United are going to stop them, so
we'll come to that later on. Yeah, Aaron Ramsey, just very quickly because we were talking about Juventus. I was at the train station on the weekend, right, in Cardiff. Who do I see? Aaron Ramsey.
Indeed.
Now, Aaron Ramsey, I don't know if he's really on his phone or if he's just doing the whole, I'm famous and I don't want to speak to anyone, which is slightly ignorant, but it's okay. I did want him to take a picture with him and maybe give V&V a shout out. So you do owe me that, Aaron. Actually, you owe us a fucking shout out. Like, I looked at him and I was like, no, that can't be Aaron Ramsey. On his own, in the train station. Guy who wins almost 400k a week now coming up. Looking like just a university student that's lost.
It's like I told you, he's famous, but he's got a face that just fits into a crowd. But not to you, though, because I recognise you scouted him out.
I knew straight away. But, mad that he was on a train by himself.
Yeah.
Surrounded by rugby fans, none of whom I think knew him, which is slightly weird. Good, you consider how fucking famous the guy is. But Aaron Ramsey, you owe us a shout out.
Either that or they were just all steaming at that point. And
this was still early though, mind. So
this is like, Grand Slam day. You realise?
But this was. I'm going to this was 10:30 in the morning though. Like, so there's a few
negligible.
People, there's a few people who were like,
but Ramsey, you 100% owe us a shout out.
You owe us a shout out, bro. Big
this
style.
is true.
But anyway, not to digress. I'm going back to the Swans. Yeah, Selena's goal was incredible. The bro from back to front, right? If they back Graham Potter, he could do wonderful things with that club. They really could. They won't, and we all know the issues surrounding Swansea. I think it's all well documented that the owners there. I mean, we spoke about Mike Ashley before, and various other people. Don't really give a fuck. It's about them. I think, from what I remember, Swansea are owned by, I think it's about 30 different people. It's a consortium of people, so it's not the two lads that are there. They're sort of the face of it. But then again, Swansea fans let us know. There's about 30 different owners. One of them is that the actress Mindy. I'm sure we brought her up on the podcast.
We did bring this up before,
yeah. Because she was
couldn't believe what you said.
She owns part of it, and she's never been to Swansea, and she doesn't know anything about Swansea. She doesn't give a fuck about Swansea, to be honest with you, but that's just her investment. So there's like 30 different stakeholders.
In summary, it's a shit show, basically.
I mean, look, it's an investment. Like, there's no friends in business. They don't care about the people of Swansea. They just want a return on their investment. That's what business is. So they'll never get it though, because ultimately the way football works, and a lot of Americans, for some reason, they don't really understand that you have to speculate to accumulate.
Yeah,
you're not going to get money back unless you invest first. They just seem to think, we'll put our money in and we'll get our money back, and it doesn't work that way. So going back to that, back him and you do wonders.
Indeed. Now that goal, just want to bring the spotlight back to that. If I didn't know football like I do, and you'd showed me that goal again, and you told me that the team that they were playing were champions of England and how good they are, and then you go to tell me that side, Swansea 15th in the championship, I believe it's 15th that they sit, and they play football like that. It's so frustrating for me, even just to watching it. I can't imagine what the Swans fans are going through watching stuff like that, and you see the potential in some of the players they have and the way they can play, and you just think, God, just invest the right amount of money. They deserve
so much more, they
deserve is the right word. They really do deserve it, because the Swans of old, the way they played football, the way they came up. The Swansea way, and it wasn't, they didn't have millions and millions of pounds then, but, there was the right investment at the right times, and
with the right, what's the word I'm looking for? Philosophy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right philosophy.
And you can see they're now, I'm not Swans expert, but I watch enough of the games to realise that you can see there is some sort of philosophy in the Graham Potter.
Yeah.
And you can see the way they've played in certain games this season and certain goals they've scored. The potential is there, and it's just so frustrating to just to realise that it's unlikely that they're going to get the investment that they need.
Yeah, from the top down, the club needs just a bit of a shake-up again, I guess. I mean, they need everybody to be on the same wavelength, and once you're on the same wavelength, that's the only way you can really move forward.
Yeah.
I've read something really interesting, actually, and it was an old comment someone brought up from from Joe Cole.
Yeah.
And Joe Cole was talking about how competitive British football is, and he was saying, and again, I don't watch a lot of lower level football. Vecchi is going to Germany, and he's going to watch some German Division 3 stuff. You were saying,
right. Yeah.
So Joe Cole was actually saying, because it ties in nicely with what you were saying. He was saying a while back that he thinks British football, the lower leagues, are the most competitive leagues in the world. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
I haven't seen enough of any other leagues.
I was going to say, I would be lying if I said that I'm an avid watcher of all the lower league games, because it's not that easy to, for one.
Yeah.
Because they're not all that that televised. But you look at the leagues, and and I bet you in there, and I see kind of the form and the results and how unpredictable it is from a betting perspective. Gives you, or at least sheds a bit of light on how competitive it is, because you look at form and things like that, and you look at the results and and how teams are doing, where they are on the table. You can read into it as much as you like, but I think from sort of League One, League Two, National League conferences, things like that, that's usually where all my bets tend to fall down. So that gives you an idea of how unpredictable it is.
It is very
and how competitive it is.
And there's a lot of talent that comes out today. You look at James Maddison, came from the Championship to Leicester.
Jamie Vardy.
I was about to mention Jamie Vardy came from non-league football.
Joe Gomez from Charlton.
Joe Gomez came from Charlton. Who
Dele Alli from MK Dons.
Yeah. Who else is there? There's probably a few I'm missing, actually.
Yeah, 100%. There's loads.
There's one in particular that was standing out. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. But again, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of foreign football. For example, I don't know the Spanish lower leagues, but I know the German ones. Whenever I see the German Cup results, they generally there's quite a few shocks in there. Yeah. So that looks like it's quite strong. But Joe Cole, I suppose, is in a good position to know. His knowledge of football seems to be quite good, and he's a very good pundit. Actually, I like Joe Cole as well. So it was actually a really interesting debate. But we'll wrap up City and Swansea. Well done to City. They were fortunate. Swansea, I mean, it is what it is. What can you do, like you said? Yeah,
they start saying, you don't cry over spilt milk sort of thing. It's we all know that it shouldn't have been the way, and they shouldn't have won 3-2. But how many times we say that in games? They shouldn't have won, or that shouldn't have stood, or that should have been a penalty. It happens, unfortunately, and for Swans fans, unfortunately, it's happened to you guys this time.
Indeed. All right,
but
cool.
We move on.
Yeah, we do. We're going to United Wolves. I don't really know where to start with that. I mean, fair play to Wolves, first and foremost. We have to give them credit. They were absolutely brilliant again. Like, they have pace, power, technique, intensity. The way they play is just a nightmare. And when the draw came out, I thought, that's a tough one.
Do you know what? 100%. When we were drawn against Wolves, I think I tweeted maybe about a week before that saying how United, apparently always get easy draws, but then
United haven't had any easy draws.
And they drew Arsenal at the Emirates, and then they drew Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, beat both of them. And when we drew Wolves away at Molineux, someone said to me, you're asking that's an easier draw for you now. And I went, do you know what? I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. And I was more worried about the game away to Wolves than I was away to the Bridge and at the Emirates. Yeah. And you can see why. And we'll come on in a second about how poor United were, but you give all credit to Wolves. They sit 7th in the Premier League this season.
Team of the season for me, bro.
Yeah, we've said it a few times now, and then they're now FA Cup semi-finalists at least.
I hope they go on and win it.
Yeah, and again, I tweeted.
Really hope they do.
I think it was just yesterday that obviously I'm really disappointed that United didn't progress as you would be. But if there's any team that's going to beat United in the cup run, it's them more than anyone else.
If there's any team left in it that's going to stop Man City, it's Wolves.
100%.
I don't think Watford would. They maybe push them close.
Watford and Brighton aren't.
But I don't think Brighton are going to do anything. But
it's all on the day, as we say.
Yeah, anything can happen. Yeah, of course.
I fancy Wolves to make the final, and then we'll see. But
Yeah, team of the season, definitely. And if they win the FA Cup, 100% team of the season. I'm not trying to hear anything else otherwise. So yeah, shout out to Wolves first and foremost because they were tremendous. We can criticise United all day, which we will. But again, we have to put some respect on Wolves' name.
Yeah.
Now,
true.
moving forward to United. Oh man, where do I start with that? It was just piss. It was very reminiscent of what Mourinho was producing at Manchester United. And I have to question some of the squad's mentality when you look at a game like that. And you know you're going into a tough game. You know what Wolves are about, right? Yeah. You know what you're going to get. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere. Saturday night in Molineux. I need to know why those players weren't up for it.
Well, I was going to ask you, who are you pointing the finger at?
Initially, I'm going to have to point the finger at Paul Pogba.
Okay.
I'm going to have to point the finger at him. All of them were poor. Rashford, you could maybe... And Rashford and Romero, I'll give Rashford with the late goal. Romero, incredible display to even keep United at a decent scoreline. But the rest of them, I mean, Luke Shaw, we watched the goal, the second Wolves goal, and Luke Shaw got turned inside out. He was like a boy at the Neville and
Strange,
Ranch.
that was. It was strange.
He was fucking...
Because...
Whoa. Bro, let me tell you, Luke Shaw, he didn't even know what ground he was in by the end.
Yeah, it was
poor.
It was weird because, we've praised Luke Shaw for the way he's played this season, and we all know his qualities. He's pretty quick. He's pretty strong as well, and he's usually quite reliable in one-on-one situations.
It was really bad.
So to see that, I don't know what that's about, but sort of it was an order from United, and I saw a few tweets about sort of people saying, oh, is there a wobble from Solskjaer? Is he now actually the right person or not? And I don't think that you can't point the blame at him too much for this because it's the attitude of the players.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
And it's the most Mourinho-like performance under Solskjaer that I've seen.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was an interesting watch because, like I said, I came back and watched it after the game, so I didn't watch the game live. I watched it afterwards, and just nothing sort of. Even, I suppose the only plus point was Lindelof with the VAR situation. I mean, at least he's not going to be banned moving forward because he is, very essential for what United need to do. But United's season is either going to go one way or the other. It's either going to end on a high or end on a really bad low.
Yeah, there's a few situations, like we said, are going to come down to the wire because the FA Cup, let's be honest, right, with the Champions League, we'll come on to the draw in a little bit, but from who we have drawn, if PSG wasn't a difficult task, then this is another level again. So we're not anticipating to win the Champions League. We know that.
Look, I mean, Barca are a different pedigree to PSG,
and
different animal.
It can be done, as we know, but we're not. Let's be honest, we're not expecting United to win the Champions League, are we? At all.
Far from it. I didn't think they get this far.
So the Champions League race, is a very close one at the moment. Obviously, United are still very much in it. But the FA Cup was the one sort of trophy I was looking at and thinking, we can get past Wolves now.
Same.
And
Same.
would have potentially drawn Brighton or Watford. That's an FA Cup final. And on their day, United can turn anyone over at the moment. So, had he won the FA Cup, Solskjaer, that would have really helped his cause for this season. But now that's out the window. So, the Champions League is, we have a go and we see what we get, but it's essential that we get top four now. If it wasn't anyway, it's even more essential now that they get top four.
Yeah, that top four race is going to be interesting because nothing is guaranteed for anyone. Spurs have been dragged back into it as well.
Yeah.
The only consolation that United may get is that other teams will potentially be going deeper into European competition. So you look at the Europa League.
Yeah,
I back Arsenal to beat Napoli. Who did Chelsea get? You don't?
No, I
really.
don't.
I think Arsenal will do. I think Arsenal
away to Napoli is not where you want to be. Personally,
I wouldn't want to get stabbed out there. But
no, not at all. But I mean, it's a very good tie.
It's a great tie for the neutral, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, Arsenal and Chelsea both going further into Europe is only good for United. You could argue that United are in Europe as well, but it's the Tuesday, Wednesday, whereas Arsenal playing on Thursday, sort of Chelsea. So there's that argument to it. United are very much in the Champions League race, but it depends what Solskjaer does now after sort of losing to Arsenal in the league, which is big really. In the Champions League race, and now losing to Wolves. That's a little bit of momentum now that's been lost.
Yeah, the wheels have come off a little bit.
Be interested to see how Ollie reacts to this now and how he gets the players back up for it, because he said in one of his interviews or his press conferences that obviously got the international break, which could be looked at as a good thing because it's time to regroup. Hopefully they'll come back with either very little to no injuries, and he's promised that they will go again, and they will come back stronger, which I hope they do, but it's got a little bit more difficult now for him.
It has, it has indeed. I'll tell you what I watched that was really interesting actually, and I watched it this morning. It was. Did you see David Moyes' interview on beIN Sports? I
didn't see it. No, I've heard a little bit about it.
Basically, David Moyes was adamant that he didn't get enough time at Manchester United. He was talking about the signings that they were going for, how Marouane Fellaini was supposed to be part of a group of signings. So Marouane Fellaini was sort of 4th or 5th on the list, so they were going to sign him, but he wasn't like essential at that point. There were other players, so they talked about Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale was sort of halfway to Real Madrid. United thought they could get Gareth Bale to the point where they laid on a helicopter to go and pick him up, but Gareth Bale turned them down. Cesc Fabregas, they thought they had him in the bag.
Yeah, I remember that.
But that didn't come off.
Toni Kroos was mentioned.
Toni Kroos was absolutely nailed on to join Manchester United until Moyes lost his job, at which point Van Gaal, for some reason, said, I don't like him. I don't know what's not to like about Toni Kroos. But that United side, it could have been very different if they'd signed those 3 players. The
Moyes situation, obviously, without going too in-depth with that, is a difficult one because there's, just like anything in football, there's big arguments for and against his sacking. Because
I think he was right to be sacked in Venice. I don't think he should have been there any longer.
I do agree with you to a certain extent. But again, we don't fully know what goes on behind closed doors, and maybe he had a certain amount of signings that, had they've actually come off, and we don't know whose fault. Whether was it David Moyes' fault? Ed Woodward. So had Ed Woodward have done, had he have done his job better and maybe brought 2 or 3 more players, but because that United side was aging, or you remember as well.
They were the champions, but they weren't.
They were the champions, but
that great.
That was just a Fergie masterclass.
Yeah.
And you look at Evra, you had Vidic, Ferdinand. There was and Giggs was still there. You had Rooney. There was players there who were very much on their way out, and they weren't replaced.
I'm sure was Cleverley in that title winning.
Yeah, I think he was as well.
Yeah, that kind of
Van Persie was on his way out. And there was just players that weren't replaced, and it's hindsight's a wonderful thing. But had they've got like a Kroos or a Bale or Fabregas or maybe 2 or 3 of those, then you never know. But he didn't do very much, even in like his style of play. I wasn't a big fan.
No, it wasn't great.
Of Moyes. Obviously, I championed the decision in the beginning because you got to give those things a chance.
Give him a chance,
But I didn't really like a lot of what I saw anyway. So
do you know it's funny? It's interesting because I don't know if it was the week before last or whenever I said it, but United without Pogba have no one that can really pick a pass.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that David Moyes, he saw that in United's midfield. He saw there was a lack of vision. So he wanted Toni Kroos, he wanted Cesc Fabregas. That's what United are missing now, is vision in that midfield. They need somebody.
They need a dynamic midfielder.
They need someone who can control a game. They need a Toni Kroos, they need a Luka Modric. I've said Isco a few times as well.
I've always said Rakitic as well.
Rakitic, you said, and which he could actually leave Barca. I was reading, that's not it's not the
worst
show.
There's a lot of I know you're not a big fan of what I'm about to say, but there's a lot more interest, and again, the rumour mill happens every transfer window in the build-up. But I am reading a lot about Gareth Bale to United.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
You have seen it as well, surely.
Yeah, no, I have. But I'm not a fan. I am a fan of Gareth Bale, and I want him to do well. I just don't want him at Manchester United.
The more I see it, the more I'm thinking, maybe I could potentially call this.
He's Alexis Sanchez Part 2. He has nothing to offer Manchester United. If Gareth Bale leaves Real Madrid, go back to Spurs. Go back to Spurs, bro. I mean, that's where he belongs. Spurs is the only English club he should play for. He has history there. He can go there. I beg your pardon, yes, Southampton as well. Yeah. But he's definitely not going back to Southampton, by the way. No way.
Redmond keep him out the side.
Yeah, Redmond will keep him out. But no, he should go back to Spurs 100%. Spurs with a new stadium now, which they are moving in on.
Any problem with that, though? They can't afford to buy him.
Well, look, I read that Spurs have money for at least 5 transfer signings.
Bullshit.
It's probably propaganda in there. But look, for me, Bale should go back. But anyway, we'll digress. I mean, Bale can go wherever he wants. I don't think he'll end up at United, though.
But we'll come back full circle on this to United again.
Yeah, we will, yeah. So we'll leave United Wolves. Boom. push that to the side. Watford, Palace, 2 best sides outside the top 6 in my eyes this season. Watford, Wolves. I beg your pardon.
I was going to say Palace.
You know, Palace. No, I was saying
because
I had Wolves on my head. I had Wolves in the head on the brain, and I'm thinking, oh shit, Wolves, Watford. Yeah, Wolves and Watford, the 2 best sides outside the top 6.
Okay,
Palace definitely not in that argument at all. I wasn't surprised to see Watford win, to be honest with you, and I'm actually chuffed to bits because again, I like to see those teams outside the top 6. Get a chance at some type of silverware. It's good for the Premier League, do you mean? And it would be no shame if Watford or Wolves went on to win it. Brighton, I mean, I can't see winning. If Brighton win it, then Jesus Christ.
The one major factor you have to bear in mind with Brighton and why they have a chance
is Glenn Murray.
Mazzolino,
I know.
And although he did miss his penalty, you know, these things happen.
He's only human after all.
He is only human. And with Glenn Murray in the side, anything's possible.
Bro, really
we saw that stat last week. That I blew your mind with that one.
Do you know, have I put that Instagram clip out yet of that?
Or
did I do the James Maddison?
You definitely did James Maddison.
I've got the Glenn Murray one saved. So
you need to get that shit out.
I'll get that shit out. Do you know what it was? And this is a ball ache, right? So if anybody actually knows the answer, let me know. I showed you how I do it, right? So I download it to my iPhone and then upload it, right? Yeah. When I try to upload it to Twitter, there's no sound on the video. But then...
Just Twitter, is it?
Yeah, just Twitter, yeah. IG, there's sound. I don't know. I'm not a technical expert.
Accepting applications for a sound guy.
So if anybody wants to be a sound engineer / media guy or girl or gender neutral person, we don't discriminate, then please let us know.
Please volunteer.
Yeah, please volunteer. It's not going to be paid, like it is 100% a
Maybe one day.
It's 100% volunteer role, but you can do it if you want. But going back to it, Watford, if one of them won it, Watford or Wolves, it would just do wonders for the Premier League, bro. It really would. And
I'd like to
add
see
a bit of
well.
tradition to their club as well. I don't know that if they've ever won anything significant. I don't think Watford have. Maybe Wolves have won something way back in the day.
I
don't know enough about the history.
Sure, but it's always nice to see a club other than one of the big 6, and it tends to be either the club that wins the Premier League or comes close tends to win the FA Cup or the League Cup, because they tend to do like a double. And it's quite predictable sometimes. Or it's like a United City or Chelsea City or Chelsea United, tend to usually get to the FA Cup finals, or Arsenal have got it a couple of times.
It's usually the teams that aren't challenging for, like you say, the league or something, and that all of a sudden they go, shit, we kind of have to win something this season. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like I say, it's always like Chelsea United, Arsenal, not Spurs. They tend to not quite get there, but it's kind of there and thereabouts. But it'd be nice to see. I would love Wolves doing it. We've said it.
Yeah, I would absolutely.
But I wouldn't
be buzzing if Wolves.
I'd take a Watford FA Cup win as
100%.
well.
And God forbid Brighton win it, and it's apocalypse now if they win it, bro. Because let me tell you, Glenn Murray, if he carries them to glory,
Ballon d'Or.
He has to get a Ballon d'Or.
At least
and a knighthood as well. He has to, 100%, yeah.
I want a street named after him.
Yeah, I think he may have one somewhere. Is there a Murray Street somewhere? It sounds like there's a lot of Murray Streets.
But there's not a Glenn Murray Street, though, is there?
There's not a Mazzolino Street.
There's not a Mazzolino Street.
Or maybe there is in Brazil.
At least there's a kebab shop named after him or something.
A favela in Brazil. That's what they should name after him. Yeah. Shout out to Glenn, though. But it was a good game, the Watford game. Looking at Batshuayi.
Yes.
We talked about the Crystal Palace lineup without Zaha. They struggle without Zaha. Batshuayi has taken on a lot more influence. He showed that with his goal. I can see him back at Chelsea next season as a number 1 striker.
Especially with their troubles.
With the transfer ban,
we spoke about, I think it was last week.
It was last week,
we discussed, it was last week. Things like that with them previously. So they're a club that's in a very difficult situation at the moment, and with Batshuayi sort of firing, I would say on all cylinders, but he's definitely putting in some good performances.
Bro, he's a good player.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did take a look at him. And then
I don't see how he doesn't fit into that Chelsea side.
Higuain's obviously going to be going back.
Can't buy him.
Can't buy him. I don't know what happens in Morata. Did they loan him? I'm sure
they did loan him, but Morata, if he wants to go,
can buy Morata.
They can buy Morata.
So I'm sure
he's
not
doing
okay.
Come back. He's doing well. We say okay. Morata as good as Morata is.
As good as Morata can do, yeah. So he might go. So then where else are they going to look? You're probably going to take. Somebody might disagree, but you're probably going to take Batshuayi over Tammy Abraham.
100%. That's not even a debate. That's true. Yeah.
As well as Tammy Abraham's done this season, Batshuayi, they would view him as a little bit more of an elite level player. So, like I said, it really wouldn't surprise me if Batshuayi was to be at Chelsea next season.
Yeah, true. Shout out Deulofeu as well, man in a match. I said he's the best player outside the top 6. You said Zaha, was that right?
Yeah, him, and I do like Fraser.
Oh yeah, Fraser's good shout actually as well. Yeah, but
he's in the conversation. Obviously,
he's in the argument. But shout out to Watford. Again, brilliant display from them. They haven't, again, I don't think won anything significant. I'd have to go away and do my history. So a nice day out to Wembley for them. There's not much else to say about the Watford Palace game. Really,
I will give a couple of stats on it.
Yeah, go on. Give us something
to shine a light on Watford as well, rather than just sort of going over the goal scorers. But Watford have actually progressed from their last 4 FA Cup quarter-final ties. Also winning in 2002, 2003, 2006, 2007 and 2015, 2016.
Those games were never at Wembley though back in the day, were they? I don't think they were.
No, but they were quarter-finals. I don't know if they were played at Wembley, would they be?
Maybe they were, or were they at Villa Park or somewhere?
Possibly.
I don't
know. But looking at that, it tells you that when Watford do kind of get towards the back end of a cup competition,
they're in with a shout.
Then they're in with a shout, and they don't tend to bottle it, So,
yeah.
Watford have won 3 games against Crystal Palace in a single season for the first time in their history. So I'm assuming that's the double they've done over them in the Prem.
Just battered them out
as well. So a bit of a bogey team for them this year, aren't they?
Yeah, no, fair play.
Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson has lost all 3 of his FA Cup quarterfinals as a manager. Also losing with Fulham 2008, 2009, and the early 2009, 2010.
Oh, Roy.
So not good for Roy, not good for Palace, and all good for Watford. Crystal Palace striker Michy Batshuayi scored in all 4 of his appearances against Watford in all competitions, scoring 5 goals in the process.
Really interesting stat. That's a good stat.
That
might be the stat of the day, actually.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, Deulofeu had man of the match, and he was brilliant. So
yeah, Deulofeu I think is going to. I don't know if he'll leave Watford next season because he seems to like to be the big fish in the small pond.
What's his situation in terms of loan, or they bought him?
No, I think he is owned by Watford.
Because he was at Everton.
Yeah.
And you think they could maybe do with him now, and the way he's playing. But
they could, yeah.
Did Everton, because Everton loaned him, didn't they, from Barcelona? I don't know if did they then buy him, or was he then loaned to Watford?
I'm sure he did. Let me double check. Let me Google this. I need to do my Googles, people. Hang on.
I know.
I don't know how many D's are in Deulofeu either, so I'll have to double check.
Let's have a look.
You might find it before me, actually. Gerard Butler's the first thing that comes up. We definitely don't need that. Fucking iPhone, man. It's been spazzing out all day. Like, my screen is fucked. There we go, right. Gerard Deulofeu. Okay.
Because if he is on loan, then they do well to get him on a full-time basis. But then Barcelona have got such
he is. No, he is a permanent player then.
He is he?
Yeah, no. So he was at Barcelona, then he was loaned to Watford.
And now he is.
And now he is at
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, let me double check that actually. Club career. Let me have a quick scan through this. Everton on loan, we knew that. Sevilla on loan. Milan on loan.
Do you think that we could potentially see him, or do you think any of the top 6 clubs would take a look at him?
Hell yeah, bro! 13 million he cost, and he could probably go for triple that. If a big club comes in and he's got a few years on his contract, they're gonna.
If you're Spurs, if you're Pochettino and you're at Spurs next season, obviously it doesn't appear that they're going to have a huge war chest of money like United, City, those sort of clubs will. And you've got a 3-man shortlist of Ryan Fraser, Deulofeu and Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah, Deulofeu.
You're going for Deulofeu,
yeah,
right?
100%, yeah, 100%.
I thought you might have said Zaha.
No, 100%. I love Deulofeu. All right, cool. We go to a quick interval. We will be back right after this, and we have the Premier League games. Stay tuned, people. Alright people, we're back, VME Podcast, episode 35. Right, let's get into West Ham Huddersfield. I don't like talking about Huddersfield, and I don't really want to talk about them now, but we have to give them some type of credit. One stat I want to bring up.
My damn headset off.
Well, you getting
violent.
Well, I might need a new co-host, yeah, if you're going to start breaking my shit, bro. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
Huddersfield, they just bring it out.
Just bring out the worst in everybody, don't they? Anyway, back to my stat. Right, okay, I got it here. This is the one interesting thing about the game, other than, there's a few good goals. Yeah. Carlin Grant Now, Colin Grant joined Huddersfield from Charlton in January. He is currently the joint top scorer in the league for Charlton and Huddersfield. And that's it. And now we're done. So we'll go on to the next game.
That's a great stat, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? So he scored 14 at Charlton and 3 at Huddersfield. And he's a joint top goal scorer for both teams.
And when did he join Huddersfield?
Bro, I didn't even know who he was until the weekend. Never heard of him.
That's mad.
That transfer, and maybe it went under the radar, or maybe I didn't give a fuck, or maybe it was both. But I didn't know.
100% it's been a both.
I did not know who he was. Didn't have a clue.
To be fair, there's a lot of Huddersfield players I'm not that up on.
Well, we said just earlier on, obviously you would have been watching earlier and you would have seen us discuss about the relevant lower leagues, and he's come from a lower league and he's done well.
I wonder if there's a stat somewhere. If anybody out there loves stats, please help with this one.
Do tell.
I wonder if there's another stat out there where there's ever been a player that's been top goal scorer for two different teams at the same time. Like you said there.
There must have been if someone's joined.
There's got to be a couple, surely.
Yeah. That's about all I am.
But lots of players join, halfway through a season or in January or whatever. But I don't think there'd be that many who were the top goal scorer of one team. Because if you're the top goal scorer for one side, surely you'd imagine you were pretty good, and most clubs usually wouldn't let go of you. But if they do, you probably go into an upgraded club who you would think would also have a player who would already be banging in a few goals to them anyway. So
it's one of those rare.
Yeah, if anybody can dig that out from somewhere, then
well, he banged. Between the start of the season and Christmas or January, he banged 14, which is a good return. And now he's already joint top at Huddersfield. I think he was primarily bought for the Championship next season. Given his form. But look, a bit of Premier League experience will do him no harm. Put himself 100%. In the shop window, he might get another move in the summer. Yeah. So, his goals were well taken as well. Like I said, I'm done talking about Huddersfield, though, so if you want to mention them, feel free to. Yeah,
I mentioned to you earlier that when I saw the highlights, I actually thought for a moment that we were going to be giving them, a little bit more airtime than we normally do.
I wouldn't have done it anyway.
Just out of principle. No. But I thought, fucking hell, they're going to win this game, and we're going to have to give them something. It might only be 10 seconds, but we're going to have to give them something. But in typical Huddersfield fashion, I apologise, they fucked it.
Yeah, they balls it up, didn't they?
They had only scored 2 goals in a single game on one other occasion this season. On the weekend, they got 3, and they still fucked it.
And they still pissed it away.
And if they'd have got 5, they'd have lost 6-5. If they'd have got 8, they'd have lost 9-8. I'm telling you. They're not made of the right stuff. And that's a Championship squad. And that's all that needs to be said.
Yeah, cool.
Let's move on to West Ham.
Yeah, good, because I don't like Huddersfield. West Ham. Terrific comeback from them. Yeah. They shouldn't really have let it get as far as it got. But Hernandez really dug them out of a hole.
They're an odd side this season, West Ham.
They're bizarre, aren't they?
They are bizarre.
Has anyone seen Jack Wilshere yet, by the way? I still don't know where he is. I've seen Aaron Ramsey more than I've seen Jack Wilshere in real life. I don't understand where Jack Wilshere has disappeared to. Is he alive?
I cannot confirm or deny it.
Confirm or deny if Jack Wilshere is
Anybody seen Jack Wilshere?
Because, bro, he has not been seen since, September. I have not seen him anywhere. I don't think I've even seen him on social media.
Yeah. But, you look at their side, and I'm sure I've highlighted this before, the West Ham squad is a very decent squad.
Bro, they got some serious players
talent. And I don't want it to sound like I'm talking like they didn't win, because they obviously did win, and they got the 3 points, which is a good result in the end. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have said at the beginning, well, especially with 3-1 down to Huddersfield. It didn't look like it was going to be a great result at all.
Like it was going to be a bad day at the office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that squad's got talent, but they're an odd team this season, because they tend to win when you don't think they will, and then they lose. They tend to lose.
Is that
the games.
attitude, or is it just I don't know?
Is Pellegrini the man to take them forward?
I think he is. I think he's a terrific manager. I think he can really get the best out of them, given a bit of time. But maybe
he's done. He's done okay. I think he's definitely not hit expectations for the money they spent. I think you tipped them to be. I tipped
them for in the top 8. They still might, right? But West Ham have always been an up and down club, and they have had relegation on their CV over the past few years. So for him to get them into the top 10 alone wouldn't be the worst finish. That's my opinion, anyway.
And I'd come up with a stat before when it was a slightly smaller number about Javier Hernandez. All of his goals that he scored, all his Premier League goals have all come from inside the area. Yeah, still remains.
He is the ultimate fox in the box.
And the only 2 players in the Premier League history that have now scored more goals off the bench than Hernandez. Do you know who they are?
No,
Again, I've
Solskjaer?
briefly... He is a few less than Hernandez.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, so Hernandez overtaken
Interesting.
Solskjaer. And I have brought these two up before, but I was probably maybe about 10 episodes back, I would imagine. Just above Hernandez, you've got Giroud.
Oh yes, Giroud. Yeah.
I think Hernandez is on. I think he's on 20. I think Giroud's got 24. I think on 27 you've then got. Any ideas?
Bro, I'm at a loss. I have no idea.
Jermaine.
Oh, of course, yes, Jermaine. Yeah.
Jermaine.
Yeah, terrific player.
Jermaine Beckford. No, I'm joking. Jermaine Defoe.
Definitely not Jermaine Beckford.
Not Jermaine Beckford. So Hernandez. It's no surprise, because he's done it. Or he's made a career out of it almost as a poacher.
Yeah, terrific player.
But that was, I think it was the equalising goal, 3-2 or 3-all.
Yes.
He was left on his own. There was nobody there.
He was being marked by nothing but fresh air.
There was nobody there.
When we watched that back, we both said at the same time, who the fuck is marking Hernandez?
He's wearing camouflage.
Bro, I don't understand. And I get, right, strikers are quite clever. And they'll move in between defenders and they'll move off the back of defenders, right? But you have to have some type of spatial awareness as a defender and be like, nobody saw it. Like, he was like a poltergeist. He just went around the back and just banged it in.
Like a ghost in the night.
Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Ray. Like a ghost in the night, man. Oh, Jesus, bro. Huddersfield were just so poor. And then the goal in the final couple of minutes. Terrific cross from Anderson as well, by the way, who I still think is a wonderfully gifted player.
Yeah, I agree.
But, again, just, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about Huddersfield this.
No, so I think we'll end on a little bit of a positive for West Ham.
Yeah, terrific.
Just checking the league position. I think because you tipped them for top 8 and they sit in 9th, and they've got a game. They've played a game more than Watford and Wolves, so they could do it.
They could. I think
still finish 7th.
I think Wolves and Watford are probably the two that deserve to be there. In fairness,
I think especially now with the appointment of Brendan Rodgers.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll come to that as well.
We'll come on to that. Yeah.
I feel like, and Everton had a good win. Again, we'll come to that as well. But this race, I feel like, could be hotting up nicely for the end of the season.
It's a really interesting race. It's a really interesting race.
Because Everton got a decent result, a very good result actually. Leicester doing bits now with Rodgers at the helm, and obviously you've got Wolves have been good all season, Watford have been pretty good all season, and West Ham just unpredictable. So you do well to predict that sort of 4 or 5 teams how that's going to go.
Yeah,
shout out to West Ham. Made hard work of it, but got it done in the end.
It's going to be interesting. With West Ham, I'm thinking to myself, with a bit of investment, do you think they could be the best of the rest next season with a bit of investment?
West Ham?
Yeah. Because they're a big club. We forget how big they are.
They definitely could. They're a massive club. And it depends largely on what happens with Wolves and the rest of the clubs around them. I think I'm literally no more the wiser on who's going to be the best of the rest next season than I was this season. Because you can look at any of those clubs. You can look at Everton and think, well, they could push on. Leicester, they could push on.
Everton are ever going to push on, bro, to be honest with you.
But they've always been in and around that area. And, whether it's going to be Marco Silva or not, or whether, it's 2 or 3 more signings, they could do something.
Yeah, true.
Same as Leicester. So I'm not even going to try and predict that. I don't know if you remember, it was my idea. I've still got our predictions from the beginning of the season.
You have, yes, yeah.
That they're nicely locked away.
I dread to even.
There's only a round of beers on it, so nothing substantial, but it's pride and and.
I already remember who I put down, so I know I'm not anywhere near it. So it's fine.
Remember, we had young player of the year, top goal scorer, first man just sacked, and things like that. So that'd be interesting to see because I can't remember all the ones which I picked.
I know I definitely picked Brighton to go down. Well, by the way, where are Brighton in the league right now?
They are sitting 15th.
Ah, shit, that's not going to happen then. Looks like the beers are on me, bro, because I predicted a lot wrong.
I think there's been a few shocks this season, so I don't know if any of our predictions really are that accurate, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And I think if you was predicted Fulham to be a bit higher than what they were as well.
I 100% predicted Fulham to be in at least a top 10 given their signings. I clearly did not check their defensive roster because they were shit. Going back to West Ham very quickly, something I wanted to bring up. We brought up Declan Rice.
We did,
last week. Did you see the headline about Declan Rice? He's in the England squad.
He is.
He's in the England squad. So in the same week,
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I think this is fucking hilarious, right? Declan Rice, in the same week he went in the England squad, got announced as the Republic of Ireland's Young Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Now, Declan Rice played for the Republic of Ireland. I believe it was in a friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't affect his status to go and play for England. So the Republic of Ireland now, who have a very limited choice of players and don't have a lot of great players, they've pinned all their hopes on Declan Rice, right? And he's given them the green light and said, I'm 100% committing to you. They've gone, we need to give this guy the Young Player of the Year. He's our breakthrough player. In the same week they give him that trophy, he then goes, oh, by the way, I think I'd rather play for England now. So that's going to be a great pub quiz question over the next sort of 50 years.
That's very true. I think even if that vote was done and it was counted up and decided before he declared he was going to play for England, somebody somewhere needed to fucking sort that out and change that and give it to the next best person, because it makes them look like a bunch of idiots.
Well, do you know the way they announced it, right? Because they announced it a few days before the England squad.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, as Declan Rice collected the award and had just gone, oh, by the way, I really don't want to play for you. They must have had some sort of indication that he was leaning towards England, because the England squad was announced a few days after. So I'd like to think Declan Rice gave them the courtesy of going, oh, by the way.
It just looks so poor, doesn't it?
It's someone somewhere is really fucked up.
I know.
And it's like, it's embarrassing for the
Imagine
FA.
not knowing that situation or being up to speed with it at that point and then going, hang on, he's just been voted their Young Irish Player of the Year. But he plays for England.
I can't.
You'd be like, oh, bro, I don't really know what to tell you this.
Embarrassment, right, in the offices in Dublin at the Irish headquarters where they've all turned around and gone, so you've seen that England squad today? And then the person that's actually giving him the award has gone, no, what's happened? Hudson Odoi in there, is he? They go, yeah, with Declan Rice.
With Declan.
I know. It's a crazy situation. It's very rare that happens, I think. Am I right thinking Diego Costa might be the only other one? Didn't he play for Brazil and then went to play for Spain?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. Again, people let me know if that is the case. I might just be making stuff up. It might be fake news.
You do that sometimes.
I do.
Yeah, we all do that, though.
Yeah, rumours.
That's fine.
But I can't think of anyone else that's happened to where they've switched. But I suppose it's going to be more of a frequent thing.
Yeah, but the awkward timing of the announcement as well. It's not a surprise that he picked England.
I think it's fucking hilarious, bro. It's like having two women on the go at the same time. It's literally like having two women
can you imagine that
at the same time.
Like a Sunday League level? Can you imagine that would if you had someone who just changed clubs and they were doing their presentation night and someone had voted, the guys have voted for this one player to be
by the way, he's fucked
per
off
season.
now, yeah.
I think the cup manager would be like, fuck this, we're not giving it to him now.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't know any other young Irish players that have stood out. So it may have been the case that they were like, shit, we really are lost for someone to give it to. So
there had to be someone. There's always someone else.
I can't think of one Republic of Ireland
There's got to be someone else
that stands out, especially in the Premier League. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but yeah. No. Shout out to Declan Rice, man.
Are there any? I'm sure there's a Brighton player that's Irish, or is Dwight McNeely's Northern Irish? And I'm sure he's Northern Irish.
I don't know.
Which would be a real shame. Nothing, for Republic of Ireland.
Bro, I don't know, but yeah, shout out to Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
And Dwight McNeil, obviously, as well.
Dwight McNeil, yeah, shout out to him as well.
I'm sure we will come to him as well, because
we'll just give random shout outs. Yeah, that's fine. It's cool. Cool. We'll move on to Newcastle, Bournemouth. Excellent result for Newcastle. Bournemouth again show their inconsistency. As we say the same fucking thing every week about Bournemouth. There's certain teams I really don't want to talk about anymore.
They were so close, though, to be fair to them.
Oh, bro, like, honest to God. And Bournemouth at home as well. Like, you'd think they'd have it in the bag. Yeah. But, Newcastle, stayed up now, you reckon? I think they're safe.
100%, yeah.
I think they're safe.
Mr. Matthew Ritchie comes back to spoil the party, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, 94th minute.
He didn't mean that goal. I'm sorry. I mean, he obviously meant to strike the ball, but he didn't mean for it to go in like that.
No, not at all, no.
And I love it, because I do exactly the same thing. I would say the way that ball gets sliced.
Yeah. It's
that didn't go how he planned it, but he will take it.
Look, you take them all day long, especially against your old club as well.
Oh, and I claim that's exactly what I was trying to do as well. just get out the way to keep
it's a sickener, innit? But yeah. But again, to me that boils down to game management, and I think Bournemouth, if you're the home side, you have to see the game out better. Mm-hmm. There shouldn't be any excuses.
I agree.
All right, there's an element of luck to the goal, but a top level sport, we talk about game management in previous podcasts before. If you're the home side and you're winning 2-1, just see the game out. That's all you've got to do.
I spoke about this actually on Saturday. Now, I'm only going to very briefly, just for the case of a comparison, going to just mention something rugby related for just a brief second.
Okay, cool, yeah.
The England-Scotland game.
Yeah, that's very similar.
Okay, so they're 31-0 up at one point just before half-time. The game was half-time 31-7, finishes 38-all. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I had a conversation with a friend of mine on the mentality of high-level athletes in sport and teams. Now, and it happens in cases where you'll be sort of 1-0 up, or maybe 2-1 up, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you might defend, for maybe through 60 minutes, the game through 70 minutes, and into the 80 minutes, absolutely fine. And the team won't threaten you. You got everything under control. You're running the game. Game management is going great. And then all of a sudden, as soon as it gets to minute 90, or around about that area, or the injury time board goes up, all of a sudden, teams shit themselves. Like, I don't understand the mentality switch. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lack of composure.
Yeah, and it's like, I can't remember who it was on Match Today. I think it was Dion Dublin. Said that you only concede a goal after 90 minutes for two reasons. It's one, either because you're knackered, you're not fit enough, or you're not concentrating. Those are two reasons. And it just baffles me how from minute 85 to 90, everything's under control, and minute 90 to 93, you lose your shit. It's mad, mentality in sport.
Yeah.
Like, it just surprises me that, I know it happens all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but
it's
just like last minute, a team bombards the area, they start putting crosses in that they weren't doing 2 minutes ago. They throw everything at it, and then more often than not, they get an equaliser or a winner.
Yeah.
But it's just so difficult for teams to try and upstairs, just try and.
It's all mental, isn't it?
It is mental, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Dion Dublin as well. I didn't realise he was still doing punditry. I see him on Homes Under the Hammer all the time, bro. I love, bro. It's a great show as well. Like, I thought Dion had moved into interior design, but if he's still doing sport,
he can do what he likes. He's he's.
Funny story about Dion Dublin that I read. Again, I don't know how true this story is. I'm pretty sure I told you this story before, actually.
Go on.
But then when Dion Dublin was playing for Manchester United, because a lot of people forget he was playing for Manchester United back in the day.
He did, yeah.
And he was in the changing room one day and he was getting changed. And Alex Ferguson saw him naked for the first time, right? This is actually the God's honest fucking truth, right? So he saw Dion Dublin naked and he turned around to the kit man and he said, "We're going to need a bigger pair of shorts." Because Dion had the biggest cock in the changing room. Shout out to Dion Dublin as well. Yeah, so that's my Dion. That's the one interesting thing I have about Dion Dublin.
Yeah, I know we've given you two very different Dion Dublins.
But three, because he does Homes Under the Hammer, which is on BBC regular if you're off work. Well, if you're in work, watch it as well. But it's a great show. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how Dion Dublin round up, isn't it?
Yeah.
He loves Homes Under the Hammer. His football knowledge is decent, and he's got a massive schlong.
Yeah. That's Dion in a nutshell, really, isn't it?
Episode 35.
Yeah, I like Dion. Yeah, episode 35. We probably end it there, should we? We don't need to do anything else.
We're done.
Yeah, we're done. Cool.
But no, it's like you say, Bournemouth, just typical Bournemouth. They're at home, so like you would have fancied them really, but they just couldn't quite see it out. Shout out to Newcastle, though. We've said last couple of episodes that they've sort of, they've hit an upturn of form. Again, Almiron looked decent. Rondon was decent as well.
Almiron's a wonderful player, bro.
Yeah.
He's a really gifted.
I really do like him as well. It makes you wonder what sort of other gems are in the MLS as well. We mentioned the lower leagues in English football. That you pick up some gems there. The MLS, you wonder how many.
The MLS has. We'll come to it in another episode. The MLS in depth, because there's plenty of more podcasts we can talk about it. But the potential they have, these American athletes, if they're coached correctly from a young age, if they could learn how to, because technique is natural, right? But at the same time, a lot of it is learned as well. Mm-hmm. So if they could learn how to play the game properly, and they had very technically gifted young players. Bro, they could do fucking incredible things.
It's getting better all the time on the MLS.
Look, the MLS in 50 years' time, we're going to see a fierce league, bro.
Indeed,
fierce league.
I'm excited to see what more could come from the MLS. So, like you say, over the next 10, 20, 30 years plus.
Yeah.
We'll see. Probably going to give you a couple of stats as well on the Newcastle-Bournemouth game.
Yeah, please do, bro. Please do.
My guy has come up in a few stats, or has come up in this stat.
Do tell.
Matt Ritchie, and he's not my guy. You'll know my guys in a second. Matt Ritchie is only the second player to score against Bournemouth in the Premier League, having previously played for them in the competition, after Mazzolino, Glenn Murray, for Brighton in January 2018. Josh King, he has now become the second highest Norwegian goal scorer in the Premier League on 41. He's only betted by Ollie by some way as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine it's a big difference actually, but shout out to Josh King.
Josh King, he's doing bits. A lot of people think he's English. He indeed isn't.
Yeah, I know. It's a real misconception.
It
Josh
is, yeah.
King, yeah.
The amount of Twitter feeds I've seen, why isn't Josh King getting a call up to England? You know, but yeah, he's 41 Premier League goals, which is decent, you know, for Bournemouth, and they haven't been in the Premier League that long. Solskjaer's way up in front on 91 though. And Bournemouth, Jefferson Lerma has picked up 11 yellow cards this season in the Premier League, more than any other player, and a joint high for Bournemouth in a single top-flight campaign, level with Harry Arter in 2016.
Lerma is Colombian, is he? Or am I mistaken?
I actually don't know.
He's definitely Latin American.
He's definitely Latin American. He loves the yellow card, though.
Yeah, that's how I know he doesn't give a fuck, because it's culturally that's okay. Like we said it before, culturally, especially in Latin America, they're completely different to us. Like a yellow card is like a goal for them. You don't give a fuck. Like
it's like they're almost on a bonus. Yellow cards.
He's chuffed a bit if he gets a yellow card. He's not scared. Like I like Lima. He's a good player. He's a very good player. Actually.
And just to sort of, I mentioned about Newcastle's upturn in fortune. They've lost just 2 of their last 9 Premier League games after losing 3 of the last 4 before that.
Fair play, bro.
You know, Reece will be happy.
Yeah, most definitely.
He was getting a bit sweaty, I think, sort of around about Christmas time.
Yeah.
Especially early on in the season when they were, like we reeled off some stats about them the first 10, 15 games, didn't we, that were not pretty. But just like last season, Benitez, I think his experience and his ability as a manager is kind of just sort of shining through eventually.
Yeah.
So shout out to him as well.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, cool. We're going to Leicester. Now, Leicester against Burnley. Brendan Rodgers, this is what he said. We talked about game management, right? This is what he said. So he said that his team played an outstanding mental game. So they go down to 10 men early. Maguire gets sent off.
Yeah.
Away from home at Burnley, which is a tough place to go with 11 men, right? On a good day, you know. Burnley are not a bad side. To go on and win 2-1 and to score late as well. I think it was Wes Morgan got the late goal. And by the way, James Maddison's goal again. We talk about James Maddison all the time. He's fucking incredible, bro. He's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
his finish was unreal. The yellow card, again, it was the main talking point, which is weird because it was such a good goal, but the talking point became about the celebration because he removed his shirt and he got the yellow card for the little girl who passed away.
Yeah, it's a very sad story without going into that, the reason behind it. And sort of when he took off his shirt and I saw it, you know, it was a very nice touch, paying your respects. And you saw the referee almost coming over to give a yellow card almost straight away. There's nothing you can do about it.
It's his job.
There's people again on social media who are slating the decision. I can't remember what it was earlier on in the season.
We did mention it. Yeah, we came up.
You know, we said it again, and you know, it you don't like to see it. And I'm sure we also went over the reason why.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
why
I can't specifically.
It's something like a display of passion, isn't it? That could potentially irritate the fans or something like that.
It could incite trouble.
Yeah, a bit of bullshit, really.
Yeah.
But he knew he was going to get a yellow card as a result of it, so it doesn't really matter. For the outsiders looking in, they're going to sort of say that, you know, blame the ref for this and whatever, but that's a non-issue to me.
I think he tweeted out as well. He said, look, you know, I understood what I was doing. I knew I was going to get a yellow card. Referee's only doing his job. Lay off him a little bit.
And the thing people don't appreciate is if he hadn't have given the yellow card, then he would get criticism from other people anyway.
Well, if he doesn't give a yellow card in those circumstances, is he not allowed to referee the weekend after, or his performance comes into review, or does he drop down the league?
But he's viewed at not doing his job correctly and consistently, which is fair enough. But you know, that aside, the criticisms that he would have from who employs him, just people on Twitter again wouldn't be happy. Social media wouldn't be happy because they'd say it's inconsistent. You know, so you can't win either way. You can't win. Yeah. He's done his job. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, very true, very true. Yeah, I mean, in terms of Leicester, we talk about the best of the rest. They'll be there or thereabouts. Again, I don't think a top 10 finish is bad for them. Again, Leicester fans have very high expectations, especially to the ones we spoke to on Twitter. They think they should absolutely be the best of the rest. They do have a playing squad that reflects that. It'll be interesting to see if Brendan Rodgers can keep that playing squad together. And if he does keep it together, who does he go for? Because Rodgers can pick a player. He's not a bad judge of character. No, see that character, Brendan Rodgers. He does like character in a player. He likes character in general. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what type of budget he works with as well in the summer. Because I mean, if Maguire goes, let's say they probably wouldn't get it right, but let's say you get 70 million for Maguire. That's the high end. Yeah. Did they reinvest all that? Do you reckon, or did they? Where's that money go?
No, I think they'd reinvest a lot of that. The thing is with Brendan Rodgers is he brings a brand of football that's quite exciting to watch. Yeah. And especially the way he's kind of unleashing Jamie Vardy a bit more now.
Yeah, I like the way he's playing the Vardy strengths a lot.
That type of the Leicester performances and the style that we know of them from seasons past, you can see it coming back a little bit. And there's players out there of a good level that will look at that side with Brendan Rodgers as a manager. And I think, I wouldn't mind a bit of that. I'd play for that side.
Yeah, no, a lot of players. It's a very attractive proposition. Bro.
I think they can offer decent wages as well. Leicester, it's not high end, but they're not going to compete with any of the top six. But I'm sure they had a good bit of money from the Premier League, from the Champions League. Yeah. And like you said, if they were to sell something like Maguire, among others as well, then they can offer competitive wages.
I'm sure we said last week that Jamie Carragher said that Spurs couldn't match Leicester when they were for Maguire's wages. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misheard that. I'm sure I said that last week.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But that's what obviously Leicester backed by the family out in Thailand who are huge. They have huge sums of money as well. So Leicester with the right investment again could be a really interesting proposition next season. Definitely. Yeah,
and as we said, they could turn out to be one of the best of the rest next season. Yeah. We'll see. James Maddison, obviously you touched on him.
My guy.
There's two stats. One that you've mentioned, I think it was last week, about him creating the most chances in Europe. And
Europe, might I add.
I did also read though that this was his first goal in quite some time. I guess something like 18 or 19 games or something like that.
He's still impacting on games though.
Like two contrasting stats. The fact he's creating that many chances obviously shows his quality. I think the other stat maybe highlights that he could maybe get a few more goals and maybe should.
Do you know what though? He's still young and this is his first Premier League season, so I would give him the benefit of the doubt in that respect.
Yeah. So from one quality player on the Leicester side, I mentioned him earlier on. Want to give a little bit of praise to Dwight McNeil as well.
Yeah, shout out to Dwight McNeil.
I said this before. He wasn't playing at the start of the season.
No, he came out of nowhere.
Really, he came out of nowhere and he really came into the fold and he did brilliantly straight away. And I remember saying, like, where has this guy been?
Who is this lad?
Like, he's been in their reserves or something. He's come from the Burnley setup, and since he's sort of been playing consistently for them, he's had a hand in 6 Premier League goals this season. There's 2 goals, 4 assists, the second highest total for a teenager this season after Ryan Sessegnon.
It's hard to believe he's only a teenager.
Yeah, and he's putting in some really mature performances at the moment, and he's a lot of good that's come from Burnley has come from Dwight McNeil. And it's no coincidence that they when they were in the Europa League, they were right on the bottom end of the Premier League, and they were in real trouble. Yeah. And kind of like Newcastle in a way, but I think Newcastle are a little bit more clear what Burnley are. They put together a good run of performances, and he was at the heart of that, Dwight McNeil. Indeed, yeah. So for a teenager, big shout out to Dwight McNeil again as well, because he's really doing some bits for them at the moment. Yeah. But then it leads me to another Burnley stat. You talk about game management.
Yeah.
Burnley have conceded. Burnley have seen more 90-minute goals than any other side in the Premier League this season. So there's been 13 goals at 90 minutes plus in their games this season, and 10 of them occasions have come from goals against them after 90 minutes. That's a league high.
That's horrendous. Horrendous.
It is horrendous, yeah.
That's horrendous.
Sean Dyche would not be happy about that. In his gravelly voice, I can imagine him saying that.
I can't do a Sean Dyche impression.
No, I need a bad throat to do that.
I
just need a bad throat, and I've had a couple of them over the last couple of months as well. So it's bad timing. But
you should have really been working on it during that time.
But I'm sure he'll be saying to someone somewhere in the Burnley setup about that, because that's unacceptable. It is bold and unacceptable.
Yeah, no, at top level sport.
Be saying to my players, what the fuck is going on?
It isn't good enough.
Where there's teams that'll be looking at that stat and thinking, if we just keep having to go these guys into the 90 minutes onwards, then there's a very good chance they're going to crack.
Yeah, look, like I said to you before,
like
top level sport is ruthless, and they will go over absolutely every fine detail. And when they'll see a stat like that, they're going to crumble. Yeah. At some point, they will break, and they do, and it's proven. I mean, that's terrible. That's mental right weakness. That is, yeah. That's right up there with Fulham defensively. Yeah. I'm not mentioning Huddersfield anymore, but you look at Fulham's defence and how bad they've been. That's every bit as bad in my eyes.
And it's. I said that they did go on an upturn of form, which they did. I think they went 5 or 6 games without a loss, so they might have even strung. I think it was a few wins together to get clear of the drop zone, but. They're slowly creeping back down. They're being, Cardiff have got a game in hand over Burnley. Should they win that, then
that's going to be another tense affair. That is at the bottom, bro. Because I reckon Fulham and Huddersfield are down now. And you're looking at Southampton, Brighton. I don't think they'll get drawn back in the mix. But again, I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it?
Fulham and Huddersfield are down apart from mathematically. You look at their points. You've got Fulham are now 11 points behind Cardiff, and they've played one more game. So Fulham are gone. They are gone. Yeah. Unless they're... I said no. Unless nothing.
We can't dress that up any other way.
Fulham fans, I'm really sorry. I was going to say, unless there's no miracles happening for you this season.
Nope.
You were gone.
None.
So them two are gone, and it's, Southampton have been dragged into it a little bit, same as Brighton.
Palace aren't far off it either, bro.
There's 1 or 2 wins there, for certain sides, and it just flips it upside down on its head. It
really does.
Who is your third team to go down?
The way they are now. I'm saying Cardiff, yeah.
I wouldn't be disappointed if Cardiff stayed up for what they've gone through this season. The difficulties they face. And we said at the start of the season, we've got obviously a soft spot for the Swans, for the reasons we explained. But I wouldn't be too disappointed for Cardiff to stay up because, like I say, the whole Salah situation, what they've gone through, and that they didn't sign anyone after that because of the circumstances. And we always think about what potentially could have happened had he been there. Would he have saved them properly?
All ifs and buts.
And all ifs and buts. But I think Burnley are going to go.
Really? Do you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, Dwight McNeil. You look at his stats there. He's ahead of Phil Foden. Yeah. He's only behind Sessegnon, so he's ahead of Phil Foden. He's ahead of Hudson-Odoi. All of these top players.
Sessegnon has been playing since the start of the season.
Sessegnon's been playing regular as well.
And McNeil hasn't. So he would really be the standout teenager. Dwight McNeil. But then, you mentioned Phil Foden. He had a very good goal in the Champions League.
He did, yeah, he did.
Took it very well, showed his composure.
Hudson-Odoi banged again against Dynamo Kiev.
But then Phil Foden doesn't get the opportunities that he should do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Foden now, I think as he gets older, he's going to get more and more opportunity. But I mean, he's playing in a side going for quadruple, so his minutes are going to be numbered, I suppose. But yeah, all right, cool. Right, we will go to a quick interval. Make sure you add me and Becky up on the social media platforms, as well as all the B&B ones as well. We'll be back. We will wrap up the Premier League and
some Champions League as well.
We'll go through bits of Champions League. Yeah, so stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. Alright, we're back. Episode 35, part 3. We'll go straight into Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk. He's not a robot. He is human.
He is. There's a mistake in everyone.
Yeah, there's a mistake in everyone. That he's been incredibly consistent.
Yes.
For Liverpool, and I still maintain he's the best centre half in the world. But that was it was a big mistake, or could have been a really costly mistake if it wasn't for the Fulham goalkeeper rugby tackling Sadio Mane. We saw it with Pickford the other week.
Yes, that's right.
And we've seen it again. I don't know how again, we talk about mentality, right, and game management. Panic just really set in. I don't understand how you lose your head so badly. I get you get lost in the moment, right? There's a lot going on. But you must have some type of composure. Like the way he just fucking tackled him, and put his arm around him.
You're a professional athlete as well. So it's expected of you to a certain extent to be able to cope.
I don't think Mane would have scored if he hadn't
touched him. I don't think he would have either.
I don't think he would have done anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool, they weren't particularly great.
No, job done.
Job done. It could have been worse, because, like I say, Van Dijk what a story that would have been. Had they have drawn that game, dropped points, and it would have been, was it 4 behind?
There's plenty of twists in this title race
Still to come.
there's plenty of twists.
For the guy who's been, arguably their best player all season, you maybe say Mane is doing very well, and he's up there as well, scored another goal.
Yeah.
But imagine it had been Van Dijk, his error, that could potentially have cost him the Premier League.
Oh, bro. That would have been like the headlines. They were ready to tear.
How unexpected would that have been? But like you say, he is human. But we say when David De Gea makes a mistake,
it happens, doesn't it?
They kind of say, he's almost not totally, but he's kind of earned the allowance of making a mistake because of how good you have been.
Totally agree. Yeah.
And I think the same is to be said with Van Dijk. So I can't see him making another mistake like that for a long time.
No, he's a terrific football player, bro. I mean, the way he's taken on the mantle of being a Liverpool player, the added pressure, and the way he even conducts himself, he just comes across as a winner. It's not that I didn't see that at Southampton. We all saw a little bit of potential in him. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't think, especially given the price tag, I always thought, wow, this will be difficult for this lad.
Yeah.
But he just really embraced it, and he's gone on a level, and he's been nothing short of incredible.
He's risen to the challenge massively, isn't he?
Bro,
yeah, no, 100%. And I think for Liverpool as well, obviously they had a really good result midweek in the Champions League. I wasn't convinced beforehand that they were going to pull it off.
I thought they would.
I don't know. It wasn't a surprise in the sense that they go through, because of course they've got the ability. It's not the same Bayern side though. It isn't, no. But then Bayern did go on to win, I think it was 6 or 7-0 on the weekend, which shows you, they've pulled back those points on Dortmund and how well they're doing, and they still, were pretty comfortably beaten by Liverpool, really.
Yeah.
But I think Liverpool were kind of lucky on Sunday that it was Fulham they were playing, and not anyone else.
Yeah.
The only worse side that they could have gone with is Huddersfield.
Yeah.
So Fulham were the next best thing they could have played. So
I fucking hate Ryan Babel's haircut as well.
Shit haircut, isn't it?
It's fucking terrible. Who told him that was a good idea?
I know. But he got one back against Liverpool, against his old club. I'm sure he'd be pretty...
Look, if he'd missed, then I would have asked him to retire.
Yeah. This is very true.
And I would have took his football boots off him, and because it was the easiest chance in the world. I mean, Van Dijk assisted him. Van Dijk pretty much headed it in for him. All he had to do was tap it in.
Yeah.
But again, that just sums Fulham season up, doesn't it?
And when they equalised, I still didn't think they were going to hold on.
No, do you know what? At no point did I ever look at it and think this is secure. At no point did I think it.
Yeah.
And by the way, how good is Mane? Right, is just, he is on fire right now. I remember Van Gaal wanted to sign him for United, and again, for some reason, the whole thing got vetoed. I don't know why. But what a signing he's been for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Him and Sterling, again, the two most informed players. And if Liverpool do win the league, Salah is going to have to really thank Mane for digging him out of a hole.
100%. Because he's in Mane's shadow at the moment.
Salah has gone missing. And I noticed as well, Salah on the weekend was almost trying too hard. Like Salah was just taking shots from distance when there was no need to take shots from distance, when there's better options around. But he's at that stage where he's desperate now.
They needed someone to step up, and obviously last season it was Salah, and and Mane and Firmino to a certain extent last season, and they were still contributing.
Of course,
and, getting goals themselves and getting assists. But like you say, Salah's really going off the boil at the moment, and luckily Mane's picked up the slack. His goal against Bayern Munich, by the way, was superb.
Outrageous.
The touch, and then just the awareness.
And by the way, the pass from Van Dijk as well.
100%.
Bravo.
And my favourite thing about that is that I really fucking hate Neuer. I really don't like Neuer.
Do you know what's happened to Neuer? Because he was like, have you ever seen the Rocky film? Where Rocky goes to Russia and he fights the blonde
Drago.
He fights
Ivan Drago. Yeah.
That's what Neuer reminded me of. And even Drago.
I just feel like his luck had to run out in the end, because he was called this sweeper keeper.
Yeah.
And
he's supposed to revolutionise the game, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and it worked for a while, and he built up a reputation. And yes, he's a very good keeper as well in terms of saving.
Yeah.
And he was probably got a very good highlight reel, but one mistake crept in, and then another, and then a few more crept in, and I don't know if it's done into his confidence, but he's had an injury as well.
I was going to mention injuries, but you know what I also think, and it happened with a few German players. after they won the World Cup, they kind of just peaked. And they kind of plateaued, and it was done.
Yeah,
that was it. There was nothing else to achieve anymore. Like, do you mean they hit the pinnacle?
Yeah,
Mesut Ozil's in the same boat.
Yeah, he's won the Champions League as well.
I would say Hummels is in the same boat.
Yeah,
I say Boateng's in the same boat. They're all in the same boat. Once they won that World Cup, they were like, oh well, there's nothing left. Yeah, there's nothing left. Muller is a prime example, bro. Muller can't even get in that Bayern side most of the time, which is slightly bizarre. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
but yeah, I'm really not a fan of Neuer. I used to hate it when, it was okay to watch sometimes, when it came off.
Yeah.
But I always felt mistakes were coming, and he was being called, the best keeper in the world, and when they did happen,
when he played in Guardiola's side, though, that was the way they played. They would dominate possession so much that, like you said, he could. He was almost like a fifth defender at times.
Exactly.
Like, so.
And he came rushing out, like he always does, thinking that he's going to mop everything up himself. And he just spun him.
Yeah, he did. He actually really
I actually don't know which part of that goal is better. The pass in from Van Dijk, the touch, the awareness to turn and swivel, or the lobbed finish.
Bro, did you see the video of the Van Dijk pass? So there's a video behind Van Dijk when he passes it, and the swerve on the ball, right, is just... It's just oh fuck, bro, orgasmic. Like, even as a United fan, I have to just sit there and go, you know what?
Yeah,
that was shit hot.
It reminds me as well of. Do you remember in the World Cup and the Van Gaal where Daley Blind hit that long ball
to Van
Persie and he did like the swan dive header? There's a video behind Daley Blind's strike, and sometimes there's nothing more satisfying than watching such a crisp crossfield pass,
sweet,
a long pass, being hit. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. It was incredible. What a ball by Van Dijk and Mane. And we're talking more about the Bayern-Liverpool game because there's nothing really to mention in the Fulham-Liverpool game other than Liverpool got the job done. That's it.
Yeah, and psychologically now what's important is that they have gone above City. Yeah. Well, one thing before I come to that as well, I wanted to just mention when we spoke about Mane, he still holds a record which I don't think will ever be broken. Do you remember which one that is? The fastest Premier League hat-trick for Southampton.
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, it just popped into my head. He's got the fastest Premier League hat-trick at 2 minutes 56 seconds. They didn't think the Robbie Fowler previous hat-trick record was going to be beaten, but he smashed it. And I don't think I'll see a faster hat-trick than that in my life.
Bro, unless there's match fixing going on.
2 minutes 56. That's outrageous.
Yeah, that's insane.
The list of them, but yeah, Robbie Fowler held it before that, but just saying, again, just underlines his credentials a little bit that even for Southampton, obviously the reason why they signed him, but he was brilliant for them.
Yeah.
And he's really showing, what he's about for Liverpool now. Like last season we said, Salah was the main guy, but Mane was still, and the season before he was still doing bits, but he's really sort of throwing his hat in there to say I could be, especially from the attacking point, I am the main guy.
So there's no dispute in that. With Scott Parker, do you reckon he should get the Fulham job full time next season, or do you give it to someone a bit more experience?
It depends if they go down or not, because
they are 100% going down.
I say they go down. Yeah, of course they're going down, but because they're going down, I should say, I don't know if you need a Scott Parker to try and sort of stabilise you in a championship, maybe get you back up, because he doesn't have a lot of managerial experience.
I was going to say, I think there's probably far better candidates than Scott Parker out there.
It got that stage in the season where he was kind of like their best option,
He was like a Solari at Madrid almost.
Yeah, but no, I don't think he's the man to take them forward.
No, I don't think he is
not
either.
At all.
No.
But Liverpool, obviously they've gone 2 points clear temporarily. They always talk about the psychology of, going ahead of the other team, because technically City sit in second. They are second in the league. You can't deny that. Yes, you can always say there's a game in hand, but they haven't yet played it. Ironically, it is against Fulham.
Is it?
Yeah, it is away to Fulham.
So
I don't really see there being much issues there.
No.
Maybe 3, 4, 5. I think they'll do a much bigger job on Fulham than Liverpool did.
That City schedule is pretty hectic, bro. I mean, we're looking at it here, right? So on the 6th of April, we've got Man City Brighton in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And then you got the Champions League on the 9th of April, which is the first leg against Spurs, which is away at, I imagine, would that be at the... no, it wouldn't be at the new stadium. It'd be at Wembley, probably. And then they've got...
I don't know. I think it might.
Would it be?
Yeah, I'm sure it might actually be ready for the Champions League, which would be interesting.
That would be interesting, actually. Yeah. So
that brings a different dynamic to that game.
Potentially it does. Yeah. Potentially it does.
But yeah, carry on.
And so we got we got Brighton, then they got Spurs, and then they've got they're away at Palace, which is a really tough game, and then they've got to go and play Spurs again. Yeah. And then they got Spurs again. And then they got United. Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, that City pile-up, right, that it's a tough run-in.
They also got to go away to Burnley. They're going to be fighting. They got their home to Leicester, with Rodgers.
Leicester playing with nothing to lose as well.
And away to Brighton. So there's 2 clubs there that are going to be...
Bro,
do you know what, though? Nobody's got a better squad than them in the Premier League.
They haven't, right? But I'm just going to throw it out there.
This is the exact reason why they buy the players that they have.
I still think Liverpool are going to do it.
No.
I still think they will. That is a really, really tough schedule. Even with a big squad. Can you really see City winning every single one of those games?
Oh, they won't win them all. But, Joe, they might very well win them all. Yeah, look at it.
I can't see it. And people, let us know your opinion if you think they can. Because I am of the opinion that they cannot win every single game in the run-in.
I'm just going to get the Liverpool fixtures.
Liverpool's run-in, from what I remember, is significantly easier. Bear in mind, Liverpool now have no FA Cup fixtures.
It depends what you class as easier, because we said this before. You look at the average league position and it paints one picture. But then you look at the sides and you think into it further, and it's a different story. Because now they go away to, let's have a look. Where are we? They got Spurs at home on Sunday, which is a tough game.
Oh, is that this Sunday or is it the Sunday after?
That's, sorry, Sunday the 31st.
Yeah, Sunday the 31st. Yeah.
So they got Spurs at home, which, as you know, is not an easy game.
I still think they'll win, though.
Yeah, they could very well do, but, not an easy game.
Yeah.
Then they're away to Southampton, also not an easy game, because they're fighting.
No, true, yeah.
You'd expect them over 2 legs to beat Porto in the Champions League. I think they do that pretty comfortably, to be honest with you.
I don't think it'll be too difficult for them either, to be honest.
In between those games, so they've got Chelsea at home. Again, you would say based on where
Chelsea
they are.
themselves, all right, have the Europa League. If Chelsea didn't have a Europa League, but then that game is Sunday the 14th.
It is. Chelsea also love to spoil Liverpool's title ambitions.
Previous Chelsea sides have had such a pedigree about them. I don't get that impression with this Chelsea side.
But they have got it about them, though. It is in them.
It's in them. I just don't think they
did to City. They beat City earlier on the season. Then Liverpool have got to go away to Cardiff. And that's not easy.
No.
They're home to Huddersfield. That is easy.
They're back to Huddersfield. Especially if it's coming down to goal difference. Oof.
That last game of the season.
Say a prayer for Huddersfield, bro. Wolves, Liverpool.
Away to Newcastle and home to Wolves.
I don't think they'll have any problem against Newcastle. The Wolves game might be slightly tricky. It's going to be a fucking interesting race, man, isn't it?
Why am I so excited over
I'm really excited.
I am excited. I shouldn't be, but I am.
I'm really excited about the title race.
To be fair, if Liverpool were to now pull it back again and win it, I think it'd be even more impressive the fact that they lost their, was it 7 or 9 point, potentially 10 at one stage, wasn't it? They lost such a big lead, which me and Reece did predict that would happen. Obviously, they are still in it, but if they were to lose that lead, go behind in the title race, and then pull it back again, that would be very impressive. It would show some bottle, that would,
As a United fan, do I honestly want Liverpool to win it? No. But do I think they will win it? Yeah. I had this feeling, right, come Christmas time, it's just written in the stars. And when I see that Man City, it's that week that Man City have, right, which is just pure chaos in football in terms. You can have the biggest squad in the world, right, but mental fatigue is
players that good, that's what they live for. It's those games.
It is, and do you know what? As fans, that's what we live for as well. This is the business end of the season, but I just cannot see.
I mean,
City
United could be the one that really helped decide it.
Well, this is what I mean. This is United could be going for the top 4, right, and City could have one eye on the Champions League as well, and they could be in the FA Cup final. And all of a sudden, United could be going,
it's a great season.
We're going to give Liverpool the title.
Yeah.
Deep breaths for United fans.
Yeah,
if United hand Liverpool the title, I don't think United would ever live that down, ever. Can you imagine?
It's one of those situations because, like you say, it's a game that they're going to really need to win against City.
They're going to have to win.
Because of the Champions League.
They're going to have to win it.
If you ask a United fan, actually, I'm going to open this up to United fans. Give us your thoughts. If United were to qualify for the Champions League at the expense of handing Liverpool the title, or you reverse and say that you could stop Liverpool from winning the title over City, but United wouldn't get Champions League football.
Fuck, that's a dilemma for a lot of fans.
What are you picking?
Would you take a season of Europa League football to stop Liverpool winning the league?
That's the
question. There's a lot of United fans out there that would say yes. I mean, look, I want United in the Champions League.
Yeah, it would hurt me to say it, but I would like United to stay in the Champions League.
I want United in the Champions League.
Not having Champions League football, and you've listened on social media about the financial effects. Not that United need that much money, but the financial impact that it has, and just for our reputation, missing out on Champions League.
I mean, if Liverpool win it, then they win it. It is what it is. Everybody has their time, right? So, you can't deny success. You can't deny greatness. If someone is great, you just got to let them be great for that period of time, and that's it. And then you move on.
It's true.
That's how it is. So,
I'll definitely put that poll on Twitter as well.
Do you know what? We will. We will and we
that
shall.
Poll's going out.
Keep an eye out on that, because we will, along with the Glenn Murray clip as well. That if I can get it to work on Twitter, then we will, but it'll probably be on IG.
Yeah.
But cool. All right, there's not much else to say about Liverpool Fulham, so we will move on to Everton and Chelsea.
Indeed.
All right, Chelsea. Sarri's lucky to still be in a job. This Everton team have potential, right? We say this all the time. Everton have good players. When they play to their potential, they are a very good side.
Like West Ham.
But Everton are too inconsistent. I looked at the scoreline, right? Because I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the highlights of it. And I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
It shocks me and it doesn't, in a way, this result.
I was fully shocked. I didn't anticipate Everton winning, bro.
I see what you're saying. But with Chelsea, it's they're so hot and cold themselves, Chelsea, that when I saw the result, I was kind of like, nah, that's kind of like a Chelsea thing.
Do you know what it is? But looking at the the relevant stats, because we have them all here, Everton have lost 4 times in the past 6 home games.
Yeah.
And then you have a Chelsea side that are pretty inconsistent, but have done quite well in the Europa League. They've been pretty convincing. So I would have thought Chelsea would have had enough in the tank to get past that Everton side.
It's a game.
Even if it's by a goal.
I didn't bet on this one for this exact reason.
This is exactly why I don't bet.
Yeah.
But
the only reason that Sarri hasn't lost his job, I said this a couple of episodes back, is just because it's simply too late to sack him now.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
You're not going to get anybody in at this point to replace him that is going to have any sort of impact. If they were going to sack him, they should have done so maybe a couple of months ago and then replaced him with probably Gus Hiddink or someone like that, or Ancelotti. They love doing that.
Gus Hiddink loves a temporary job at Chelsea.
Does, yeah. I know it would have given them time then for the temporary manager to maybe stamp his authority, but it's too late for that now.
When you talk about the Chelsea inconsistencies, great stature as well.
Yeah.
Oh, don't look at it now.
No, I'm not you.
Yeah. No, I know. I always try and ruin them.
I'm read the stack and I'm like, can you guess me?
Do you know the only team worse than Chelsea in 2019 away from home is Fulham? Yeah, how bad is that? That means Huddersfield are better away from home than Chelsea.
We can't talk about Huddersfield though.
No, I'm not. Sad team.
Yes.
That plays in blue and white up north. They are better. You're right. Chelsea are very inconsistent, bro. But I would not have anticipated them getting it. I wouldn't have anticipated Everton doing that, and I wouldn't have anticipated Calvert-Lewin being man of the match.
No.
To be honest with you.
But I touched upon it just now. I see a lot of similarities between West Ham and Everton.
Yeah, huge similarities between them. Yeah.
I think that's reflected in how close they are in the league. There's only 2 points separating them. Both of them invested pretty well.
Everton's 300 million since Newell took over as well.
Both of them are big clubs.
Yep.
Both of them have got a very talented squad, and they both should be doing better, really. And they're both very inconsistent. So there's a lot of similarities to be drawn between the two sides. But I don't really know what to say about Everton. They just, as soon as I write them off, they take me by surprise. They're probably I'm going to check their fixtures actually, because they're probably going to go on to lose the next 3 games.
Richarlison's only 21 as well, but he looks about 51.
Is he only 21?
Yeah, he looks old as shit.
I went high pitched then because it really surprised me.
He's only 21. I looked at him the other day and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy is aging like at a rate of knots. That must be life on Merseyside. I haven't been there myself. That is life on Merseyside for you. Yeah.
Oh, and look what the next game is.
Oh,
the irony.
The irony of that.
That was not planned.
Everton, West Ham, yeah, we definitely aren't that media trained. We're not that media savvy to the point where we'll pull that one off. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that actually, but that'd be a good game. I'd actually watch that just to see now who would win.
I'm looking at Everton's running, and it's not pretty either for them. So when I said they could easily lose the next 3 games, this it's very possible.
I mean, Fulham aside.
Fulham aside, yeah.
They got Burnley, but Burnley are scrapping for.
Yeah, at that stage as well, you know. So
Everton would be lucky to get 3 points.
For those who don't know, they go away to West Ham, and then they're home to Arsenal, away to Fulham, home to United, away to Palace, home to Burnley, and then away to Spurs in the last game of the season. So
mental.
There's some tough fixtures for them.
Yeah.
So they got a very good result. Fair play to them, because from the highlights that I saw, they were good value for their victory as well.
Yeah.
But it would be just like the Everton of this season for them to maybe take, like you say, 3 points max from those.
They might get 3 points. They might get
6.
12 points. You don't even know which Everton are going to show up. And if they show up, they could really do some damage, but I can't see it myself. Only a few quick stats regarding them.
Take it away.
Richarlison scored 12 goals in the Premier League this season. Pretty good return.
Yeah.
The only 3 players that have netted more in the competition in their first season at Everton were Yakubu, Lukaku and Kanchelskis. 15. So he may well end up on 15 or more. But it's a decent little return from this season, in fairness.
There's a lot of K's in it, isn't it? Kanchelskis, Yakubu, Lukaku.
Yeah. Pickford became the 5th youngest goalkeeper to make 100 Premier League appearances, the 5th youngest English goalkeeper, should I say, after Scott Carson, Joe Hart, Ian Walker, Paul Robinson. I would have thought David Seaman would have been in that list, but I don't know. Not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think so as well, but
it's
not
weird.
to be.
That's Gylfi Sigurdsson has missed 3 of his 5 Premier League penalties for Everton. Gylfi. Pure attackers. Interesting, isn't it?
He just prefers to score 30-yarders instead, really, doesn't he? Yeah.
Goals from 12 yards is just too simple.
Too simple.
Gylfi, yeah.
He likes to make a bit of drama out of it.
He does indeed. But game-wise, again, there's not an awful lot to talk about
Another stat I don't think you just reeled off in that game, just to end on this one.
Yeah, go on.
Eden Hazard has now failed to score in each of his 7 Premier League games at Goodison Park.
I know.
His most appearances at a single away venue without finding a net in the competition.
What I will say is he's carrying that Chelsea side. Everything goes through him, and if he doesn't score, Chelsea don't win. If he doesn't score or assist. So
when he sees Everton away on the fixture list, he doesn't look forward to that one, does he?
I wonder why that is.
I think it's just one of those outlandish stats that he probably doesn't even know it himself. I'd imagine he's just
the mental block he has when he goes to Merseyside.
I bet it isn't even a mental block. I bet it's just coincidence that it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Oh, cool. All right. Premier League is done and dusted for the week.
It is.
We'll go over the Champions League. What we'll do, I'll give your predictions on the games, right? So we'll go Liverpool, Porto over the 2 legs. Who are you going for?
Oh, we're going for both legs,
are we? We'll go for both.
Liverpool.
Liverpool,
by 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah. Again, people let us know your opinions as well on what you think is going to happen. With United Barca, over 2 legs.
Depends if you're asking my head or my heart.
Give us both, let us know.
100% my heart says that it can be done. Of course it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done.
You look at the miracle against PSG and how they turned that around.
Does lightning strike twice?
It probably isn't going to.
I don't think it will.
But you look at the season Chelsea won the Champions League. How much luck did they have all the way through the rounds?
I can't actually remember it.
But they played Barcelona. Remember the whole Torres moment with Guy Neville making all the orgasmic noise because Torres was the keeper.
Yeah.
Messi missed the penalty.
Yeah. You need a bit.
They played against Napoli, I think, in the round before, and they were very lucky. In the final, Bayern missed a host of chances. Drogba equalised last.
The stars aligned, didn't they?
Sometimes the stars align.
Yeah.
I reckon that United they won't lose at Old Trafford. I'm going to say that. But I don't think it'll be enough going to the new camp. It should have been. The way the draw came out, it was supposed to be at the new camp first.
Yeah, I thought so.
Which was interesting because I thought if they can,
is that not the case now? Then?
It's not now, no, and I'll come on to that in a second. Because I thought if they could have gone to the new camp and just try to shut them out and be really stubborn, a good away performance, and maybe lose 1-0 or 1-1 or 2-1 even. They'd come back to Old Trafford with the crowd behind them and maybe sort of make a run at it,
Yeah.
Best case scenario. The reason why it's changed, even though it came out as in Nou Camp first, is they don't want the United and City home games on the same night within the same week.
Right, I got you.
And what happens then?
That would be pure chaos.
Yeah, and how they decided it was the team that finished highest in the league last season got priority.
Got you. Right, I was unaware of this.
I'd never heard of that rule before, really.
No, it sounds like something.
Sounds
like a rock, paper, scissors.
And I was like,
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
You know, Solskjaer hasn't moaned about it. Nobody's going to moan about it because, again, it's two legs is two legs.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think Barcelona will edge it. And it'll be by too much, but I think...
I would go Barca.
Yeah, Barca there.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the both so far. City Spurs.
Now, for me, I think if the Champions League tie is played in Spurs' new stadium, I think that adds a different dynamic.
In what way does that change the dynamic?
Well, if it's the first game they play there, they're going to want to get off to it. They're going to be up for it just because of the occasion. They're not going to want to kick off their, the game.
You don't want to start with
in the new season by getting spanked by City. But no, I'm going to go with City overall for that.
I would go with City as well.
Yeah,
and then just Juve Ajax.
I'm going to go Juve. I know you're not a big fan of them at the moment, but
I would go Juve.
I don't think Ajax is going to replicate what they did against Madrid.
So we're
going to go City Juventus into the semis and Barca Liverpool.
Overall winner?
Juventus.
Bold statement. I'm going to say Barca. I think Messi. I think that looking at that Barcelona side, it's a team that's in transition.
And it is, yes. They can meet in the final as well.
Ronaldo,
Messi.
They could. Yeah, Ronaldo, Messi in the final. Yeah.
If
that's what FIFA and UEFA want as well. By the way, they don't want United. Let's say you get United and City in the final, right?
That would be something.
That would be a great game, but they don't want like everybody from Manchester piling over, pissing in fountains, right? Just fucking tearing the place apart.
Like United, Chelsea.
They want a bit of culture, right? They want Barca, Juventus there, Messi, Ronaldo. That will be the game that they can market best. So
indeed,
it could well happen as well. By the way.
We have our thoughts on the whole Ronaldo-Messi debate anyway, which we won't go into because we just simply would be here all day.
Yeah.
But if, just a straight-up question, Ronaldo was to win the Champions League and drag Juventus to win the Champions League, do you think that just further cemented again?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you think it's more impressive if Ronaldo wins it with Juve than Messi does with Barcelona? Yeah.
Yeah.
By a mile.
100%. That Messi's been in minimum three Barcelona teams that... One of which, by the way, was just iconic.
One of the best I've ever seen.
One of the best you've ever seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been living in a Barcelona bubble. It's like an incubator, like I said. He's there, and his genius is unquestionable, right? And his goal on the weekend, by the way, was just outrageous.
Sublime,
it was fucking ridiculous. But if Ronaldo goes to three different leagues with three different cultures, with three different languages, and more than three different coaches, and he takes those teams and he puts them on his back and he wins the league in each country and he wins the Champions League with each team, he's undoubtedly the greatest.
Yeah.
For me, you can debate it as much as you want. And Messi is he's a footballing god, right? I'm not even going to dismiss him in any way, shape or form because I can't. And he's repping all the small boys out there as well. So shout out to Leo as well.
Like Ramsey.
Yeah, we'll come on to that another day. We're not going to get it. That's an off-air thing. But basically, Ronaldo, if he takes Juve there and he wins it, he's the greatest of all time. That's my take on it. But yeah, player of the weekend. We'll round it up. Who have you got?
Ooh. Caught me off guard there. I'm going to go Hernandez.
Hernandez.
Match winner. Off the bench.
Yeah, no, do you know, he played very well. He made a great impact when he came on, didn't he? Who would I go with? I'll probably go Deulofeu, actually. I thought he was instrumental in the Watford win, and he was very good. So, yeah, Deulofeu. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up there. Episode 35 is done. Episode 36 will be back after the international break. In the meanwhile, if I've got time, I'll do a little 5-minute roundup. So it'll just be a little bit of satire, a comical look at the world around us. It won't be anything too deep. In the meanwhile, make sure you add us up on all the social media platforms. You know the drill. B&V on Twitter and on IG. Me and Becky, add us up on all the relevant platforms too. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Plays wise, we're well over 1,000 now on YouTube. Things are going really well. So yeah, let's get some more subscribers. Keep telling all the people you know. If they don't have YouTube accounts, just watch us in general, innit? You don't have to subscribe.
Everyone's these days got Instagram or
yeah, exactly.
Twitter,
yeah,
so if you're repping us or following us on something, then we appreciate it regardless.
Yeah, it's cool. The brand will hopefully be expanding later on in the year as well. We'll let you know more about that when it happens. That aside, bro, is there anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'm good. That's it for me. Yeah.
All right, people. We will see you next time. Take care. Ciao.